The cafeteria was loud, filled with chatter and laughter, but in one corner sat a girl who seemed invisible to everyone. Her name was Emily. With her hair tied in a neat bun and her head always down, she was the kind of student who blended into the background. She didn't make waves, she didn't argue, and she certainly didn't stand up for herself. But little did anyone know, the girl who walked silently through the halls carried a secret that would one day shock the entire school. For months, Emily had been the target of subtle bullying. The whispers, the snickers, the cruel little jokes about how quiet she was or how farm girl plain she looked. She endured it all without a word. She thought if she ignored it, it would go away. But bullies thrive on silence, and her quiet nature only made her seem weaker in their eyes. One afternoon, it all came to a breaking point. As Emily sat with her lunch, 3 girls from her class surrounded her. Their leader, Jenna, was the kind of girl who thrived on attention. "Why do you always wear your hair like that?" she sneered, circling Emily like a predator. Emily kept her head down, gripping her fork tightly. "Oh, come on, talk," Jenna's friend added, and before Emily could react, a hand yanked hard on her bun. The pain shot across her scalp, but in that instant, something inside Emily snapped. The cafeteria went silent as Emily stood up. Her heart pounded, but her instincts kicked in before her mind even caught up. With one swift motion, she grabbed the wrist of the girl who had pulled her hair, spun her body, and flipped her clean over her shoulder. The bully landed flat on the floor, gasping in shock. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Emily, the shy girl no one ever noticed, had just taken down one of the most feared girls in school. But it didn't stop there. The second bully lunged forward, furious, but Emily sidestepped with precision, using the girl's own momentum to send her stumbling to the ground. The cafeteria filled with gasps, laughter, and shouts. Students leapt onto tables, phones out, recording every moment. The third bully froze, her bravado gone. Emily's eyes locked on hers, steady and unflinching. "Don't touch me again," Emily said quietly, but her words carried more weight than any scream. What no one in school knew was that Emily's father, a retired martial arts instructor, had trained her since childhood. She had mastered discipline, balance, and self-control. But she had also mastered restraint, choosing peace over violence, until peace was no longer an option. For years, she kept that part of herself hidden, terrified that showing strength would only make her more of a target. Yet in that moment, she realized something powerful: hiding her strength only gave bullies more power. Of course, the aftermath wasn't simple. Teachers rushed in, breaking up the scene. The bullies cried foul, insisting Emily had attacked them. She sat quietly in the principal's office, calm while they ranted. But the day after the cafeteria incident, the school felt like a completely different place. Emily, who once slipped quietly through the hallways, now felt dozens of eyes following her every step. Whispers trailed behind her like shadows. Some were filled with admiration, others with disbelief. But there were also those who resented her, students who thought she was showing off, or teachers who disapproved of violence, no matter the context. During class, Emily kept her head down, pretending nothing had changed. But her phone buzzed relentlessly with messages from classmates she barely knew. "That was awesome. Can you teach me how to do that? You're famous now." The attention was overwhelming. For a girl who spent most of her life trying to stay invisible, being the center of attention was more frightening than facing the bullies themselves. Her real struggle began not with the bullies, but with herself. At home, she sat in her room replaying the incident in her mind. She questioned whether she had done the right thing. Her father noticed her silence and asked, "Emily, what's weighing on you?" She confessed her fear. "Dad, what if people only see me as violent now? What if I become what they say I am?" Her father placed a hand on her shoulder and said softly, "Strength without control is dangerous. But strength with discipline, that's honor. What you did wasn't violence, it was self-respect." The words comforted her, but challenges kept coming. The bullies, humiliated and bitter, didn't stop completely. Instead, they shifted their tactics. Rumors began spreading, stories twisted to make Emily look like a hot-headed fighter. Some students whispered that she had trained for years just to embarrass them. Others claimed she was dangerous. Emily realized that sometimes defeating bullies doesn't end the fight, it changes the battlefield. But she also began to notice something else. Quiet students who used to avoid eye contact with her now looked at her differently. A boy who was often mocked for stuttering approached her shyly after class and said, "Thank you. You gave me courage." A freshman girl, eyes wide with admiration, whispered, "I wish I was brave like you." Emily's chest tightened. She never wanted to be a hero, but she couldn't ignore the fact that her actions had given others hope. Soon, the principal called her in. Sitting across the desk, he sighed and said, "Emily, you have to understand that violence cannot be tolerated in school, no matter the reason." She stayed quiet, ready for punishment. But then he added, "That being said, after reviewing the videos, it's clear you defended yourself. You showed restraint when others wouldn't have. For that, you won't be punished. But remember, real strength isn't in proving people wrong. It's in choosing when to use it." Those words stayed with her. Over the next weeks, Emily found herself in situations where she could have lashed out, but didn't. When whispers and rumors circled, she held her H.